Hi everybody, welcome to this week's digital edition of Overdrive. I am Sohini Dutt. I apologize right at the start in case my internet seems to be lagging. I seem to be having a problem with the internet connection today. But anyway, as you saw at the start of the show, there is plenty for us to talk to you about. Bert and Rohit will be joining us shortly to field all of your questions. The comment section is open right now. You can send us all of your query. But let's start off the show with a Harley-Davidson motorcycle. Now, while the country and most of the world was in lockdown mode in April, Harley-Davidson launched the Low Rider S, the latest addition to the Softail family in India, at a price of just over 14.5 lakh rupees. Now that the lockdown has lifted in most parts of the country, Arif Sherwani, who hails from the capital city, got a chance to spend some quality time with this motorcycle for a good amount of time. And here's what he had to say about the newest Milwaukee Monster. Take a look.
What I have with me today here is the Harley-Davidson Low Rider S for 2020. I'm really excited to ride the bike and see what it's all about, and we'll get to that in a bit. But first, let's take a look at what has changed for 2020 over and above the Low Rider. Now, the S in Harley-Davidson terminology means special. What that means is that you get this blacked out treatment for the engine, for the exhaust, other elements like the indicators, etc. And you also have a hint of chrome. For example, if you notice the chrome tip exhaust, the brake and clutch levers, etc. So that essentially is the aesthetics of the motorcycle. In terms of the overall design, you get these matte bronze cast alloy wheels, both front and rear. So it's running 19 inches up front with a 110 section tire. It's running a 16-inch rim at the rear with a 180 section tire. The other design elements on the motorcycle, so the speedometer and the tachometer are mounted on the tank. They're set up quite high. You do have to look down to kind of see them, but it does aesthetically look nice. There are two caps on the tank. One is a fuel filler cap, one is just a fore cap. So it opens, but there's really nothing underneath it. One of the prominent themes with Harley-Davidson motorcycles is the seating position, and the Low Rider S is no different. So like I said, it borrows heavily from the West Coast inspired custom styling. So the footrests are mid-placed, the handlebars are raised on these 4-inch raisers and are slightly leaned forward. So the position that you sit in is comfortable up to the waist, and then you lean slightly forward. It's a slightly sporty position for what is a heavy motorcycle.
The traditional Harley experience starts the moment you thumb the starter and slot in first gear. It feels mechanical and raw. What has changed though is the classic potato sound. With the stock exhaust, what you hear is more of a throaty rumble at idle. Once on the go, you're introduced to the true might of the Milwaukee 114 engine. This 1868cc unit makes around 161 Newton meters of peak torque at a little over 3000 RPM. And it's the nature of the torque delivery that is everything on this motorcycle. What adds to the experience is that the Low Rider S is a relatively lighter motorcycle to get this engine. Anything above 4000 RPM sends vibrations through the bars and pegs. And the only fly in the ointment of the motorcycle's cruising ability is the seating position. Change the handlebars and you could have what is perhaps the cheapest and one of the most powerful cruisers in the Harley-Davidson family. But with great power also comes the great necessity to have a developed skill set. This is not a beginner's motorcycle and it demands respect. A jerky throttle opening while taking a corner can separate you from the motorcycle without any fuss. The rear wheel slides ever so easily. The riders that have been pampered by traction control, beware. So good throttle control is the best way to yield great results with this one. What you'll also need a lot with this motorcycle are good roads. The suspension is stiffly sprung, which makes it great when leaning into corners, especially the long sweeping ones. But a bad patch of road and potholes make for an uncomfortable time on the saddle. What redeems the package though is the handling. It changes directions relatively easy for the weight it carries, and by Harley standards I would venture out and say, yes, it's sporty. Is it a nimble throw-around kind of bike? Most certainly not. But is it engaging and predictable? Absolutely. The brakes have good bite up front and after a few uses begin to feel nice and progressive too. The rear brake though feels a little dull in terms of bite, but combined with the front does the job by the book. I'm also happy to report that this Harley-Davidson is no longer the quintessential nuisance in traffic when it comes to heat escaping on the rider's legs. The heat management this time around is very good. The big motor understandably runs hot, but no longer do you have an urge to leave the bike in traffic and take a cab home.
At this price point, 14.69 lakhs, this is the cheapest Harley-Davidson which you get a 114 Milwaukee 8 engine with. So if you've been wanting this stock monster of an engine in your motorcycle, but you don't want to spend upwards of 30 lakh rupees, this is perfect for you.
Let's bring Rohit and Bert on the show right now. Let's get their thoughts on the Harley-Davidson Low Rider S.
Hi, Sohini.
Hi,
Thank you
Rohit.
for having us over. I think Bert is also joining. Yes, Bert is there. He's joined us in his car. So yeah, I think
every time.
yeah, I think there's a new car every time. So that's a good thing. So which car are you in right now, Bert?
Right now I'm in my long-term menu, so that's
Oh,
what I'm
nice.
using. Yeah, so all the fancy cars have gone back. Like someone recently pointed out on Twitter, saying, "Bert, you can't be driving around a Korean or a Hyundai for that matter. Yeah, it's beneath you to drive that sort." Like, no, boss. I still enjoy these small cars. They're the best thing to get out in traffic, and traffic is a bitch right
True.
now in Bombay. It's such a pain in the ass. It's all come back to normal the way it was before. And Sony's
Absolutely right.
because I'm just using cuss words on the show. I don't know what to say, but man, I just drove from about 15 kilometers, and it was absolutely painful trying to make it in time to get out to this live show. But hi guys,
Which
welcome
is
to
why,
Overdrive, welcome to yet another live show. So yeah, Sony, sorry, carry on.
what are your thoughts on the Harley-Davidson motorcycle? Is it something that you would have liked to ride here in Mumbai, but Arif got a chance to ride it in Delhi right now?
If you're asking me that, well, I would definitely like to ride a motorcycle just now. I know I can't because my knee is still not back to 100% after my reconstruction surgery. But as soon as I can get my hands on a motorcycle, I'll be back to riding, and hopefully I'll get riding in this traffic using a motorcycle. That'll be better than a car any day.
I agree with Bert. I mean, yeah, any motorcycle would be great for this kind of traffic. The rains haven't been kind to Mumbai right now, but I would still love to ride in these rains. In fact, we've been doing that, but I'll talk about it later because it does match with some of the questions that we are getting. But as far as the Harley Davidson is concerned, the Lowrider S, I think if you are a Harley fan, a cruiser fan, or a fan of Sons of Anarchy, I'm neither one of those. But if you are, then I think this motorcycle will certainly have you excited. What has me excited about it is the way it looks and the power and the way Arif just mentioned that if you're not measured with the throttle, the cruiser will throw you off. It's actually got a very punchy engine. That is exactly what the Fat Bob was also known for having that nice grunt, having that nice punch. And that is what this bike also has. And I'm definitely waiting to ride this motorcycle. So as and when I get a chance, I will certainly like to take that opportunity and ride this motorcycle and understand what the engine is all about and how it feels in this new package. But I think, yeah, it's a very good looking motorcycle. That's the most important aspect of this particular bike. The way those two clocks are laid out and the way the tank is designed, I think it looks really nice. It's got a slightly upright proportions, and I think all of it nicely comes together. Looks like a powerful cruiser, and then that price tag. I think that price tag is going to be the biggest highlight for the Lowrider S. I think for that power, that kind of price that you're getting it at. It's simply phenomenal if you're a cruiser or a Harley Davidson fan.
In fact, Rohit, there's a lot of news that has come up this week itself.
Yes.
There's so much to talk about that. We'll come to that in a bit. We'll quickly go through the car news, and then I believe Bert will be telling us a lot more about the EV policies that have been announced earlier this week as well. So, quickly, just to run through the car news, we'll start off with MG Motor India, the brand which is popularly known to make connected cars, has just showcased the Gloster at the Auto Expo earlier this year. While we caught a glimpse of the Gloster only from outside, we couldn't peek into the interiors, nor was there any information about the feature list then. But just a couple of days ago, MG Motor India released a new teaser of the Gloster. I think it will come with many possible radar-guided driver assistance systems. It's expected to launch during this festive season. Rohit, I believe you have a photograph for us that you just came across.
Yes, in fact, if we can have it on the screen, I saw the Gloster today. This is the first time I'm seeing it because I remember the Gloster was shown to the audience at the Auto Expo on day one of the public days. It
Bert was
wasn't
there.
shown at the media days, but yes, Bert was there. And I remember Bert telling me that the Gloster looks really good in the flesh. And I have to agree. I mean, a car on a flatbed is never a good sight, but of course, this is not a broken down vehicle. This is a vehicle that is being taken to the dealership with utmost care, and it looks huge. I mean, you can see the size of it, and that is exactly how I spotted it. I just happened to pass it, and I was like, "What was that big SUV on the flatbed?" And that is when I stopped to get a peek, and it has a lot of presence. I mean, the amount of people who are just slowing down in traffic just to get a glimpse of this vehicle on the flatbed says a lot about the vehicle. And yeah, you're right. We didn't get a glimpse of the cabin at the Auto Expo, but I happened to, quickly just climb onto the flatbed while the driver wasn't looking and get a quick peek inside. I didn't take any photographs of that, unfortunately, but the cabin certainly looks very premium. I mean, with the Hector, they already showed us, they wowed us with that big screen, the vertical screen, and everyone loved it, right? And that is one of the biggest reasons, biggest selling points for the Hector. So you don't get something similar in the Gloster. At least that's not what was visible to me. But the seats and the upholstery, everything looked very rich and very premium. This will also have the tan upholstery like we saw on the Hector Plus recently. I saw similar kind of tan upholstery on this car as well, and the overall cabin just looks quite inviting. So once we get a chance to drive this and actually sample the car, we'll be able to tell you more. But yeah, at least in flesh, it looks phenomenal. It looks huge.
It
All
is.
right,
It's a
yet
pretty large SUV, lots of street presence. And I'm hoping, yeah, the goodies, as we saw from that video, that short teaser, I think it'll have adaptive cruise control, for instance, because that's what the icon that's what the illustration shows us. And
Right.
then, of course, collision avoidance system. So I think there's some interesting stuff to expect in the Gloster. What will be very important to see is the price point at which this will come in. So if MG Motors can really price it below or somewhere around the 25 rupee, lakh rupee bracket, that would be very, very inviting, especially where these safety systems come on board. So that I think would be a big hit if they can just price it right.
all right.
I agree on that.
Yet another car that was showcased at the Auto Expo was the Renault Duster with a 1.3-liter turbo petrol engine that's already doing duty in the Nissan Kicks. Now, this SUV will be offered with a choice of a 6-speed manual transmission, apart from the CVT as well. We expect the Duster to make 156 PS of power and 215 Newton meters of torque. We believe Renault will offer the turbo petrol on the higher trims of the Duster, while the base variants will make use of the naturally aspirated 1.5-liter petrol that puts out 106 PS of power and generates 142 Newton meters of torque. Just like the Kicks, mileage could be close to 15.8 kilometers to the liter mark. And at present, the Duster is available at a price tag of 8.59 to 9.99 lakh rupees, and we expect it to undercut the Kicks at launch, this petrol 1.3-liter turbo Duster. But Rohit, your thoughts on this as well?
Well, it should be an interesting SUV to drive. Turbos always, I mean, there's a lot of fun that you can have with these cars, but I think we just actually leave it to see what the performance figures are like. The car's expected on a test very soon with us as well. We're just waiting for that car to land up in Bombay, I think. That's what I believe. And as soon as we get our hands on it, we'll have a full test review for you and what it can, what it is capable of doing.
Because Renault claims that this will make this particular engine will make it the most powerful SUV in this segment.
That is true. I mean, that is true. That is what Nissan claimed as well when they got the same engine with the Kicks. But even though it's so old, even after all these years, the Duster still has me excited. That every time there's an update and there's something added to it, it still has me excited, and that's purely down to the kind of value for money package that it is, and the sheer amount of things that it can do for that money. The kind of size it offers, the capability of the vehicle on and off the road. And that whole robust feel that you get with that vehicle. And now with this 1.3 liter engine, with the kind of power that it promises, it should be a good package. At least on paper, it sounds really nice. Like Bert said, we'll have to run the numbers and see, how this power is being put down, how they're harnessing this power. Does it really go with the character of the car? So that's something that we really need to test and verify. But it certainly has me excited. So I'm waiting to get my hands on this car, and hopefully that should happen very soon.
All right. And finally, in terms of the car news, Honda Cars India has started accepting bookings of the new Jazz, the facelifted version. The refreshed Jazz can be booked for a token amount of 21,000 rupees at the dealership or 5,000 rupees on the Honda from Home platform online. The hatchback now comes with a new gloss black grille element, LED headlamps, and a new bumper, a revised rear bumper, and reworked tail lamp cluster with the new LED lighting element. The notable features on the new Jazz are a sunroof, cruise control, keyless entry, push button start, and paddle shifters for the CVT variant. It comes with the same 1.2 liter petrol motor as before, but is now BS6 compliant. We expect the Jazz to be priced around the 5.5 lakh rupee price mark. All right. Sorry, I seem to be facing a bit of lag. I don't know whether you guys are able to
Yeah,
see
there
it.
is a bit of
I'm seeing a
lag,
bit
at
of
least on
lag.
your window. I can see that.
It's not as
Sohini, but
quick as we assumed it to be, isn't it?
All right, we'll take a couple of questions from our viewers. We'll come to the motorcycle ones a little later, but we have
There are quite a few
Ravindra
questions.
asking us. Sorry.
Yeah, there are quite a few questions that have turned up from what I can see.
Yes. So Ravindra has a question saying that he's looking to buy a enthusiastic car, irrespective of the category, under 20 lakh rupees. What would you suggest, Bert?
I like the last comment. Please send me any. Well, Ravindra, we're not in the business of sending cars to anyone. But yeah, the Octavia is definitely one option over there. The new Octavia, that's a few months away. I think about another 4 to 5 months before it can come down to India. That is only going to be again next year. That is 2021. But I mean, there are other choices as well that you can get. Enthusiastic with a lot of performance. There's not much that's available. The new breed of SUVs, most of those are coming out with the turbo petrol engines for that matter. So those are quite interesting to drive. But having said that, I think the Octavia would be one of the best bets in this segment and something to wait for definitely.
All right. We have a question from Preetham Kumar. He is looking for hybrid vehicles, 2 or 4-wheelers, and he's also said that he is ready to wait for 5 years if needed.
Well, I don't think there are a lot of hybrids coming out immediately in the market. Rohit, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe there are lots of hybrids coming in. A lot of focus is going to shift towards electrics, and we'll come back to that story later on. But I think a lot of manufacturers also will shift their attention more towards electrics than towards hybrids for that matter. So I don't really anticipate much coming in. Toyota might get a couple of hybrids. Maruti, of course, also will have a few hybrids, but those are the smart hybrids or mild hybrids, as you know them. But otherwise, there's nothing else that is expected, or at least not much that is expected in the hybrid category.
Right. The only ray of hope is the Honda City, where we are hearing news that Honda might be considering. They are those customer clinics that they are still conducting. They are still evaluating if the hybrid city makes any sense. But yeah, that's the only ray of hope, like I said. And like Bert said, people, or rather the car makers, are looking at now jumping onto the EV bandwagon, and we'll not see a lot of hybrids, and that is down to the cost, because battery costs are still very high. So the hybrid proposition still turns out to be quite expensive and may not, give you the kind of value that you're expecting. And that is why it would be better for most car makers to now, completely omit the hybrid midpoint and directly go to the EVs. And that's exactly what we are seeing happening from a lot of announcements that are coming through as well. So yeah, not much happening in the hybrid space is what I believe, and I don't see much happening there either.
All right. We have a question from Zaxon. He wants to know whether Honda has any plans to bring back the seven-seater CRV in India.
Well, not to my knowledge. Nothing that I know about. If this is coming, Rohit, is there
Well, the
something that you
CRV that is currently on sale is a three-row CRV.
yeah.
So, that's still available, that's still on sale, and both the engines, the petrol as well as the diesel, will be available in the BS6 tune. So, you still have the three-row CRV available. So, if you need that kind of seating configuration, it's there, and it's quite versatile. It's quite roomy, quite spacious, quite capable. So, if you have it on your radar, maybe you could take a look at it at the closest Honda dealership.
All right. We have a question from Anchit. Anchit, thank you for asking us if we are safe. Rohit and I are sitting at home, so we are pretty safe. Bert is sitting in his car. He should answer this question.
Well, I'm actually trying to figure out ways and places inside my car where I can place my Surface Pro and then work. And I've got a very interesting photograph of the way I've positioned it. And I think this is, something that we're doing in future as well. I mean, I'll send a picture. I'll tweet a picture about it later. I don't know if I can share it with you guys over here. But yeah, so yeah, I'll send it to you. In fact, you can just show the guys what I'm
Yeah,
up
you
to.
Yeah, so
Sorry.
Anjit wants to know that
Yeah.
is Creta automatic. Which one would you prefer, the Creta automatic or the Seltos automatic?
Well, as per our specific our comparison test that we did for the Creta and the Seltos was the slightly better SUV in that category. But Rohit, I mean, if you have an opinion that would differ, you've driven both the
I would,
cars
I
back.
would, I would agree with what you are saying, and I agree with the verdict as well. In fact, we delivered that verdict on video as
Yeah.
well. And the Seltos is slightly better than the Creta as a package when it comes to at least the top end variants. Now, it will also boil down to what particular variant are you looking at, not in terms of the powertrain or the gearbox option, but also in terms of the trim level. And that is where your options, might completely change, and your verdict might completely change because. The well-spec variants or the trim levels of the Seltos are actually in the GT line, which is significantly pricey as compared to what the Creta offers. The Creta has better distribution of features in that sense. So it will boil down to what features you want, what your pocket size is, and what is the trim level that you're looking at. But like we've also said in the story, you wouldn't go wrong either way. I think it is going to primarily boil down for a lot of people to the way these two cars look. It's going to boil down to what appeals to you more than anything else, because they are very closely matched in terms of what features they offer. Like I said, it will boil down to what trim level you're looking at and what car appeals to you more in terms of the design.
All right,
That's only
Aditya.
if you
Yes,
get onto your
I will take a little bit of time to upload it because of the lag. Until you answer this question, I'll just get that up. Aditya has a question: City CVT
yeah.
versus Verna DCT, and though he's saying he's not an enthusiast.
Well,
Okay,
I would
I'll take that question, Bert, because I have
say,
recently been driving the Honda City. In fact, all of last week I've been driving the Honda City CVT again, because we really wanted to ensure and literally challenge Honda's claim that the CVT is more fuel efficient than the manual petrol. And well, it turns out it is. It is quite fuel efficient, and what they're claiming is actually right. We have done multiple tests now, and the CVT is actually more fuel efficient. So if you're looking at it for city use, I think I would go with the City CVT. It's a lovely gearbox for what a CVT is. The DCT is obviously the more the more efficient gearbox in that sense, the more enthusiastic gearbox. But like you just said in your own question, that you're not an enthusiast. You're looking at something that is more of a daily runabout, and in that, I think the City CVT will be the better package because of the more superior fuel economy that it offers. You want to add something,
All
Bert?
right.
well, not really. I mean, I haven't driven the Verna DCT, neither have I got the drive the city, also for that matter, the CVT. But yeah, I mean, traditional sense would effectively tell me that the dual clutch transmission should be the better transmission. Having said that, I've driven the DCT in the MG Hector, and it was quite a sad transmission, to be honest. And I've not been enjoying that transmission at all. It's definitely not responsive. It has got a lot of lag. So I don't know how the DCT on the Verna is, but yeah. Uh, Common sense tells us that the DCTs are better transmissions, even if you're driving it in urban areas for that matter, or out on the highways also. But let's see. You have a better opinion since you've driven both the cars.
All right. We have a visual of what Bert has been up to in his car. This is what it looks like. I haven't been able to get a full screen of it. He's kept it on his steering wheel.
Wow.
Well, this is
Lovely.
technology. I mean, this is my connected car now.
So are you sticking this thing to your steering wheel by some
Well, actually, no. I've got a Surface Pro, and it's got a reclinable, a hanger kind of thing at the back, which I have kind of
okay.
inserted just inside the steering wheel, and it sits comfortably on that. So yeah,
Interesting.
Jugaad, Indian Jugaad. My next startup is going to be a Jugaad company, which does all of these accessories for the automotive industry for consumers.
Yeah, if this
How
was
to
Skoda, they would call it simply clever and clever engineering. But
absolutely,
yeah, at the end of the day,
absolutely.
it's Jugadu work
I will give you the things you
that
can keep where they shouldn't be stuck.
true.
Okay, Nitin has a very timely question for us. Is the 1.5 liter TSI and the T-Roc an enthusiastic engine?
So 1.5 again. These are cars that I haven't really driven. I haven't driven much, Rohit, in the last few weeks or the last few months, for that matter. I mean, all of this is Rohit and Simran and Tuhin who've been doing all of the driving. So you would have an opinion on this. But the same engine.
Yes, it is the same engine in both the cars, the T-Roc and the Karoq, and I absolutely love that engine. You know, on paper it might not sound like a big engine, 1.5, and then you have the cylinder deactivation technology, which means that it wants to just shut off two cylinders to maximize economy as and when possible, and it does all of that, and it does all of that very efficiently. At the same time, it also respects driving fun. So when you have your pedal to the metal moments, the engine does respond very quickly. The gearbox is quite nice, and the package is really good. Now, between the two, which one would I choose? Well, for that you'll have to watch the review. But yeah, the engine is it's equally good in both the cars. It's tuned slightly differently to suit the preferences of both the car makers here, of both the brands here. So there's a slight bit of tuning difference in it. And if I had to make a choice, I would go ahead with the T-Roc because of the way this engine behaves in that particular car. It's simply phenomenal. And I would probably even go back to my roots and even put a bigger exhaust system or something because the engine actually sounds quite good, and that exhaust system is trying its level best to mute all those sounds as much as possible. Again, in line with all the new emission norms that also include sound norms. But if I was buying, I would certainly put a different exhaust system, something that sounds louder, because that engine definitely deserves something that's a little louder.
All right, we'll just take one last question.
I want to take a
Satya,
question from you, because there's a guy who's responded to us, Praful Palekar. We'll
okay.
come to Satya's question later, but Praful's got a question, and of course, I see this question coming up quite a few times today. I'm the nostalgic bit and all of that. Thank you, Praful, for watching us for such a long time, first of all, and for being a avid reader and enjoying what we do in Overdrive. Thank you for being a part of our family, for that matter. And yeah, I hope you still have that yellow Volkswagen Beetle scale model and enjoying that as well. So the question, of course, the most important part is the sonnet or the venue. And I see quite a few questions coming up on either of these. And of course, like I said, I'm driving the venue. That's my long-termer. I've had it for almost a year now. And I've also got to take a look at the Sonnet initially, the first look as well, which we've showcased earlier. We've had this walk around. I've done this walk around before on that. And there's not a lot of difference in terms of quality, fit and finish. And the only large differences would be over here, of course, the pricing. That's something that we're still waiting to see. That Kia has still got to launch the Sonnet. The other bits that we're waiting to see are the engine and transmission configurations, and how is Kia going to package all of this? What are the configurations that it's going to give? What's most important and what's very, very interesting is that Kia is going to be offering the diesel automatic. And that could be a big seller in this segment. A lot of people still want to buy a diesel SUV, and they've always wanted. There's always been a demand for automatics come along with diesels, but manufacturers haven't really offered them. And Kia offering this is going to be a big step forward for someone looking for something of that sort. Apart from that, you've also got a phenomenal amount of features. Now, keep in mind, both these cars, even the Venue and the Sonnet, they're loaded to the gills. There's a lot of tech. There's a lot of features that are available in these cars, especially the connected technology. However, Kia, of course, being the newer entrant, has had some amount of time to work on that feature list. So they've got a few more additions that will probably offer a lot more value to people looking at some sort of a premiumness in the segment. You've got that Bose sound system. Let's not forget Bose. The name Bose itself, I mean, stands for premium sound quality in India. And a lot of people, middle class families and people coming into urban areas, for that matter, I mean, associate Bose with being an expensive premium sound system. So that having it in a car, and a car that could probably be in the ballpark of about 12 to 15 lakh rupees is a huge thing. Apart from that, you've also got the ventilated seats, you've got the air filtration system with the virus protection. So all of these will add a lot of value. Even some of them sound very much like marketing gimmicks, but I think they will add a lot of value for consumers who are looking for these kind of features. So it's going to be a very, very tough contest to say which between the Venue and the Sonnet is going to be a better car. I think it'll all boil down to the feature lists, and of course, down to also what the pricing is. Keep in mind, again, Hyundai have also launched a sports variant in the Venue already, which will go up against the GT line and the Sonnet. And that sports variant, we've seen images of it earlier. I mean, it's not just the outside, you've also got some interior trim touches similar to what the GT line has got. Then there's also that the sports variant also comes out with that DCT transmission with the paddle shifters. Very, very important. Again, a lot of enthusiasm to be, enthusiasts looking for something interesting to drive in the segment. That's something that is a big plus, a big bonus in that category. On the driving front, they're both fantastic cars to drive. I would believe the Venue anyways is a great car to drive, and I would believe the Sonnet also would be equally great with those configurations that it has got. I don't see much of a difference coming in where drivability, handling, dynamics are concerned. I think they'll both be on a similar podium for that matter. So it'd be very interesting to see how both of these cars eventually, both of these SUVs shape up against each other.
All right. But I believe you could take us through all the EV policies that have been announced earlier this week in the country. So we'll just have the slides for you.
Absolutely. So the big news, of course, is that the Delhi government came in very recently and announced a slew of incentives for EV buyers. There you got it on the screen right in front of you, up to 30,000 rupees to state buyers of EV scooters, e-rickshaws, e-goods carriers, and up to 1.5 lakh rupees for buyers of EV passenger cars, passenger vehicles. So that's a huge step forward to promote and to encourage people to go and buy EVs. Delhi clearly recognizes that there is a problem with air pollution, and part of that problem needs to be addressed in a very, very strong manner. And that the only way to do that is to encourage people to move towards electric vehicles. So this is one of those incentives that Delhi government has put into place. They also, in addition, plan to launch several charging stations. They've said they're going to set up 200 EV charging stations from up to next year. This will, I think, go on till about 2022, along with 100% subsidy on procuring all the charging equipment, as well as a subsidy limited to rupees 5,000 for 30,000 units. Now, there's also a very big move was the scrappage policy, and Delhi government is initiating this in a big way. Incentives will be given to buyers who will replace their existing cars with an EV. There's two folds. There's two pillars over here that you need to look at very, very keenly. One is, of course, that it will incentivize a lot of people to go and to buy EVs. But it also gets businesses rolling, because the scrappage policy, what a lot of dealerships were asking for vigorously is to initiate and start off that scrappage policy. The government of India needed to start that off. It's not begun as of yet, but that will effectively encourage people to give up their old cars and buy new cars. So of course, business starts rolling. It also puts cleaner, better cars on our roads, which emit lesser pollutants. So that again benefits us environmentally as well. And of course, with Delhi government's incentives on the encouragement that they've given to the scrappage policy, it will also incentivize a lot of people to go in and buy EVs rather than just buying IC engines. So I think they're very, very positive moves. Now, Delhi was not the only one to do this, actually. I think Telangana also had made a few announcements in this regard. However, what Telangana has announced is more towards promoting manufacturing of EVs in the state, while Delhi wants to promote owners, people to buy cars, buy two-wheelers, electric two-wheelers, and of course also in the commercial sectors to get the three-wheelers and various other vehicles onto our roads, onto Delhi's roads. Telangana, on the other hand, is taking another approach, and which is to encourage a lot more manufacturers to start manufacturing EV components and electric vehicles, even battery packs, everything in Telangana state itself. So you've got that 100% exemption on road and registration to buyers of the first 2 lakh EV two-wheelers and the first 50,000 EV four-wheelers. Now, this is again to generate more enthusiasm among consumers of EV products. But the EV manufacturers bit, so in that slide which you just, yeah, the EV manufacturer and related industries are eligible for a 20% capital investment subsidy capped at rupees 30 crore, which benefits manufacturers who want to set up plants, who want to set up whether it's the electric vehicle components, whether it's the vehicle itself or the battery packs for that matter, including exemption on stamp duty. That is for people who want to set up these factories in Telangana. So they are they're looking enthusiastically at building that ecosystem, or building the production and manufacturing ecosystem in Telangana. So this is another big step forward. This will also encourage a lot more manufacturers, a lot more startups to come up into the space. MSMEs also would want to get into the space of making EV, whether it's battery packs, whether it's battery management systems, whether it's the cars itself or the components for the electric motors. So this will encourage a lot of them to get into that space. Apart from this, also don't forget that last year we also had FAME 2 coming in, and there were further incentives under FAME 2 that consumers could avail of. There's the 7,090 EV buses with an outlay of rupees 3,545 crore, the 20,000 hybrid vehicles that they wanted to encourage, the 35,000 four-wheelers, and 500,000 three-wheelers with an outlay of 2,500 crores. Now, all this was from the government. So there are further benefits that you can avail of if you're looking to buy an EV, and all of these benefits are passed on to consumers directly from the manufacturer. So I see a huge spurt in EV demand coming up in the future. There again, for two-wheelers as well, rupees 10,000 per kilowatt for two, three, and four-wheelers. That's the incentive depending on the battery size. So that's for two, three, and four-wheelers. Then rupees 20,000 per kilowatt for state transport units. So these are the incentives that are being passed on to consumers as well, depending on the battery size that goes into the vehicle. This is applicable again both for manufacturers as well as for consumers also. So a huge round of benefits for consumers looking to get into the EV space. And over the next few years, I think we will see EVs becoming a lot more affordable. Keep in mind, there are already affordable electric vehicles available in the market, and I'm quite surprised to see quite a few of them on the roads already. I've seen the Nexon EV. I've seen quite a few of those being driven around. I've also seen plenty of Hyundai Konas out on our streets. A lot of people being driving them. Of course, in the fleet car, there are also the Mahindra vehicles running around with the electric powertrains. So I think this is a big boost for the whole EV industry at large. In a short time, in fact, we're also going to very, very quickly, we're going to also see some players in the luxury space coming out with an EV. Keep in mind, just around the corner, sometime towards the end of September or early October, Mercedes-Benz India will be getting out the EQC. It will be the most expensive electric vehicle we may have in India. We may have, I don't know what the pricing is, but it could be the most expensive electric vehicle. But it's a first step that a luxury player, and one of the big Germans, is taking in that space of bringing an electric vehicle down to India. The EQC promises, a completely different experience. I'm quite keenly looking forward to driving it very, very soon, and we'll have a review for that for you also very, very soon, hopefully on the digital show itself. But yeah, so there is this big, there is suddenly this a huge momentum building up for the EV industry, for players who are looking to get into the EV space, who want to buy EVs. Keep in mind, in the last month, I think, or 2 months, we've had a couple of EV two-wheelers coming out as well. There was Bigos, and there's some other as well who've introduced new scooters also. So there's a lot of movement happening. There's a lot of movement happening. What I would now like to see is the entire charging infrastructure being set up and being put into place. That's very, very important for this segment to thrive. This is the next big effort that needs to be taken both by public or private enterprise for that matter. The Government of India EV sale policy update allows sale and registration of EVs without batteries. This is another big step forward. This is one of the big moves that took place, and this effectively allows manufacturers to offer vehicles, two-wheelers essentially, two-wheelers and three-wheelers, at lower prices. So a consumer can effectively go in and choose and select what kind of a battery he'd want into that. He can also, it also helps and enables subscription policies for that matter, which manufacturers might offer to consumers. So there is a whole plethora of benefits that this will offer to consumers at the end of the day. I think we will see an EV revolution coming into this country very, very soon. My only problem at this point in time is that I don't have a charging station at home, for instance. So it is still a challenge. I need infrastructure that will give me or allow me to enable me to charge my car comfortably. I park a lot of my cars out in an open parking, sometimes out on the street as well. I've got very limited parking space in living in the city of Bombay, and I know a lot of other people who would want to use an EV would be facing this similar situation with similar challenges. And this effectively is something that needs to be addressed rapidly. We need EV charging stations to be placed. Rohit, from what I remember, you also mentioned that there were a couple of charging stations at Panvel, at New Bombay, Washi,
Yes.
but those aren't operational as of yet.
That's right. I mean, they were operational, but ever since the lockdown, they have been in lockdown and they haven't reopened yet. But yeah, there are actually quite a few charging stations in and around Navi Mumbai. So once I think things resume to normalcy, everything should be fine. And now with these new norms coming in and the new ways and new policies coming in, I think that will certainly see a lot more number of these charging stations cropping up everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, keep in mind last year when the government of India, when Ministry of Transport had effectively framed and announced the FAME 2 guidelines as well, they also said that a lot of states would be incentivized and would of course be encouraged to set their own policies, to add their own policies to this, and of course add some more incentives for consumers at the end of the day, or manufacturers also for that matter. And this is what we're seeing now. Delhi government has come in, Telangana has come in. We will see a few more states, of course, making announcements in the months to come. And buoyed by, I mean, Haryana state government has been extremely encouraging also about EVs coming into this as well. And they're also working on something. So there are various state governments that are looking at doing various things in the EV space. So I do believe we are well set on that path to revolutionizing mobility. Uh, 21, 22 for that matter, we will definitely see a lot more EVs coming into the market. I'm quite uh, eagerly looking forward to them to see what it does and how it changes the market space. I'm not a big fan of EVs. I still like my IC engines, my petrol engines, or diesels for that matter. I do understand the need of the hour. We certainly need non-polluting transportation, but we also need clean energy at the end of the day, and that is going to be another big challenge that the government of India will have to address in the years to come.
All right. So that's all about the EV policies. In fact, all the articles are up on the Overdrive website as well. So any more information that you'd want, you can catch up with all of that on our Overdrive website. We'll take a couple of questions once again. Abhilash has a question. After the recent price cut for the XUV 300 petrol, is it a better buy than the Nexon in terms of drivability and maintenance?
Rohit, you want to answer that?
Yeah, I'll take that. Sohini, sorry, but before I answer this question, and while Bert takes a breather after talking for so long, one quick update about the CRV. Yes, I stand corrected. So at the moment, it is only the petrol front-wheel drive variant that is on sale with a five-seater configuration. The seven-seater, the diesel, the all-wheel drive, that all stands discontinued at the moment. However, there have been reports that this has been permanently discontinued. Now, the reason for that is that the diesel all-wheel drive variant and the seven-seater options were not essentially doing too well for Honda in India, and that is the reason why they have been discontinued. In fact, ever since the launch of the Civic, Honda has been carefully looking at each and every trim level, what is working, what is not working, and then literally just taking out variants that have not been doing too well. So if the demand were to arise again for the seven-seater or the three-row variant, and if there was demand for all-wheel drive diesel, they might make a comeback, but as of now, they're off the list because there was simply no demand for these variants. So I stand corrected. They are not on sale at the moment. Sorry about that. I did say that it is still on sale. In fact, my CRV long term just went back last week, and that was the diesel all-wheel drive with a three-row configuration. And the reason why that has apparently gone back, I just got a message from Honda as well, who have been watching this show. So thanks for quickly giving us that update. So yeah, at the moment that variant stands discontinued. But if there was demand and if there is enough demand, they might bring it back. It's not an official confirmation that it has been permanently discontinued. So now coming back to the question that we have about the XUV300, well, to quickly take you back to the comparison that we had done with the XUV300 and the rest of its class rivals, it did come out with some really high points, but the one of the biggest low points for the car was obviously its price tag, because at that price tag there were other competitors that were offering better kit and better drivability and a better package overall. But the highlight for the XUV300 has been its robust nature, and that new petrol engine is certainly something that's something that we are waiting to test out as well. But with that new price positioning, it certainly is it's a strong contender in that space. But what you still don't get with the XUV is you still don't lose that rough edge that the vehicle has. If you like rough and tough vehicles and that is what you're looking for in that sub 4 meter space, this is literally your only option. You know that everything that Mahindra vehicles stand by and everything that we love about Mahindra vehicles, if that is what you're looking at, then this Sangyong converted Mahindra is something that still is in line with everything that you would like about a Mahindra. But if you're looking for something that is more of a soft roader, more of a more sophisticated urban SUV, then of course there are better options. And with vehicles like the Venue and the upcoming Sonnet, it just makes life more difficult for the XUV300. So yeah, that pricing proposition will certainly help, but how much is it going to help? I can't say at the moment. Now, is it a better buy than the Nexon in terms of drivability and maintenance? Like I said, we haven't tested this new petrol engine, so I can't really talk about the drivability of it. But in terms of maintenance, both Mahindra and Tata have been literally neck to neck in terms of the kind of service packages they offer, the kind of service pricing that they offer, the warranty packages that they offer. So it's literally going to be down to your personal preference. Which one is it that you prefer more? But if I had to make a choice between these two, I think I would go with the XUV300 because I really like the robust nature of this vehicle.
All right. We have a very urgent question coming in from Deadly Noob Gaming. He's saying that he wants to buy a helmet today. In fact, he said in the couple of chats later, he said he wants to buy it today itself. Should he go for the SMK helmet or an MT helmet?
Well, I wouldn't comment much about SMK because we haven't tested those helmets. And when we say tested those helmets, obviously we are not testing it at the level you would want us to. No one's crashing in those helmets, but at least on paper, at least in terms of the specs, the current crop of MT helmets that definitely looks like it is the more superior one. But like I said, I can't really comment and say that this is better than the SMK because we have not even taken a look at an SMK helmet. We don't have a test unit with us. The MT helmets we have seen and used, so that is something that we would definitely recommend at the moment.
But you're sitting in the Venue. There's a question. Someone wants to know views on the Venue IMT.
Well, again, we haven't driven the IMT as of yet. I haven't driven an IMT. We took a similar question last week as well. And what I believe so far is that the Venue IMT is going to be there's going to be a learning process to driving the IMT transmissions. They're not going to be the easiest of things to do because even though you're used to a manual transmission, you have a tendency to use the clutch. And this is a two-pedal car. The IMT is a two-pedal car, so you just got the accelerator and the brake pedal. You do not have a clutch pedal, and it's still a manual transmission. So you need to, learn the way to drive an IMT. That's going to be a bit tricky. I think it takes some time learning that. And there's only going to be a learning curve. That's all I can say about the IMTs at this point in time. But I'm quite keen and looking forward to driving an IMT to understand what the whole deal is all about.
All right. Rohit, I think we'll let you take over the.
I'm going to take because this guy's been quite persistent, and that's Sam D who had a question about the Sonnet dimensions of the segment leading. Well, Sonnet dimensions are segment leading, yes, but that's a very moot point because it's a few here and there compared to a Venue. Launch date and price. Well, the launch will be coming up in September, sometime in September. But price we're not aware. But I do believe it will be very close to where the Venue is priced for that matter. So anywhere upwards of about 9.5 lakhs, going all the way up to about 15 to 16 lakhs. I guess that's where the pricing is going to be. The top of the line, the GT line variant with, of course, all the bells and whistles. and the diesel with the diesel automatic. That I think would be somewhere close to about the 16 and a half, 17 lakhs. But again, all of this is assumption. We are not sure what the pricing is going to be like. Kia has surprised us in the past with the Seltos and the pricing of the Seltos. So I will still wait and see what what the launch has in store for us.
All right. There are a lot of motorcycle questions which are piling up as well, Rohit, on the show. But first, you can just take us through the motorcycle news from this week.
Right, so let's start with the BMW R18. Now, we talked about this a few weeks ago on the digital show where we broke the news of this motorcycle coming to India very soon, as early as September. And well, it is in line with what we said. In fact, all you guys in Delhi, the motorcycle is already at the Delhi dealership, at the Delhi BMW dealership. So if you want to get a glimpse of the vehicle, just give the dealership a call. Block your slot and go and take a look at the motorcycle. It's already there for your viewing pleasure. So the first motorcycle is already here. The bookings are going to open very soon. The price announcement I'm expecting will happen sometime in between now and mid-September, and deliveries are expected to begin in October. Now, my expected pricing for this motorcycle is between 20 to 24 lakh rupees. The first edition is what is on display in Delhi, and I'm guessing that there will be a few of these first editions up for grabs for the Indian market as well. Now, they're all powered by the big 1802cc boxer engine that you can see. It is one of the biggest that BMW builds at the moment, even bigger than what they offer on the GS. And it puts out 91 PS of power, 150 Newton meters of torque, and there is a sharp drive. But the big highlight for this motorcycle is not how big the engine is, but how simple the design of this motorcycle is. And that is going to be the big talking point. We have been addressing a lot of cruiser fans today with the Low Rider S story that we did, and essentially this motorcycle is going to go up against the likes of those motorcycles. If you are a cruiser fan and if you've been waiting for a Bavarian German engineered cruiser to enter this space, well, finally your wishes come true because the R18 is finally here. Moving on to the next launch that happened this week, that is the Street Triple R. Now it was again launched using the online platforms. They did a very nice launch on Instagram and Twitter as well. But the bigger, nice and good news is the pricing that you see on the screen, 8.84 lakh rupees. That undercuts the Street Triple RS by almost 2.5 lakh rupees. If you're saving that 2.5 lakh rupees, are you losing out on a lot choosing this R variant? Not really. In fact, we have a story on Overdrive where we've detailed what do you lose out on if you were to settle for the R instead of the RS. And I certainly urge you to take a look at it, whether or not you're buying this motorcycle, because this is a very capable motorcycle. It doesn't have all the top door equipment that you get on the RS, and that is exactly where it saves price or saves the money. But what it has on offer is actually quite good if you are purely going to be riding on the road. If track days is something that you are not really aiming for with this motorcycle, the Street Triple R I think is at a brilliant price tag. It is one of the most value for money offerings right now in that middleweight street bike spec. So I think that certainly deserves your attention if you're planning to buy in that space right now. And Triumph is also offering some tailor-made EMI schemes and finance schemes. So do take a look at all of that if you're planning to get yourself a Street Triple R. And the third news is in the adventure segment. I mean, there's constantly something happening in the adventure segment, right? So now we have the Versys 650, which is now coming with the BS6 engine. We had the Ninja 650 coming in, quickly got the news of the Z650 as well. And now the third 650 iteration, the Versys 650, also gets that updated BS6 engine. Slightly down on power and torque compared to the bike that we had in the mega ADV test that we did earlier this year. But that shouldn't really take away much from the capability of this motorcycle. It is still one of the best entry-level ADVs that you can buy, or middleweight ADVs that you can buy if you're on a budget and you don't want to get yourself something like a Triumph Tiger or any of those higher spec ADVs. So this is still very well spec'd, very well priced in typical Kawasaki fashion. It's coming in at about 6.79 lakh rupees ex-showroom, which is only about 11,000 rupees more expensive than the outgoing model. So I think it still has that value for money, package going for it. And that's something that should still continue to work in its favor. It is still one of the best-selling 650s out there. Definitely outsells the V-Strom 650. And though the V-Strom 650 is the better product in our opinion, the Versys 650 is a very nice package. So if you have been waiting for the BS6 variant to arrive, it is finally here. And finally, in the two-wheeler space, we have the TVS Zest 110, the BS6 variant of which has been launched. Uh, it's coming in at a price of 58,460 rupees. That's ex-showroom Chennai. That's coming in straight from TVS's hometown. And well, it offers you, everything that you love about this vehicle. It is reliable. It has best-in-class mileage and performance. So all of that is still here. It's a 110cc engine, and in the BS6 guys, it puts out 7.81 PS of power and 8.8 Newton meters of torque. And now it comes with DRLs as well up front, and claims best-in-class under-seat storage capacity of 19 liters. There's also an LED taillight. So yeah, if you're buying into the scooter space, well, of course, colleges are not reopening yet, but that shouldn't stop anyone from buying new vehicles. And scooters are certainly something that a lot of young kids are always out to, get one. And the TVS Zest 110, I think, is definitely one of the products that you should look at. And finally, in the two-wheeler space, now we don't have info on more two-wheelers, but there is the Steelbird hands-free helmet that has come out at a price of 1,879, but it's not a full-face helmet. It's got a wired connection to your phone and headphones. I don't know, I'm not really going to, oh, this is not even a helmet. This is just a face shield with the wired connection. So yeah, I mean, if you need a face shield right now, given the current scenario, and if you've been moving around with a face shield, and if you have want that wireless connectivity for it as well, not wireless, sorry, wired connectivity to your phone, you have it right here. So it's like I said, the price is 1,879, and this is basically Steelbird venturing out into giving you more protection in terms of the current COVID scenario, and it is essentially for people who are out there, out on the road, and in the public spaces. So this is essentially targeted for them. So you don't have to sort of keep on getting your phone out every now and then. You have connectivity now with the face shield. So yeah, a nice accessory to have.
Well, deadly gaming noob, you might want to look at this also as an option, since you're anyway in the market looking for helmets. This is one more additional thing you could go in for right now.
When you're off the motorcycle, of course, because this is not a helmet; it's just a face shield with the headset.
Yeah, this is not for riding. This is definitely not for riding.
Yeah, not for riding, exactly.
So we have a question, in fact, from Mohammad Uzair. He wants to know, why didn't Triumph bring the TFT version of the R?
Well, they had to keep stuff exclusive for the RS, right? Like I mentioned, the RS is the one that gets all the top door equipment, and so the R still gets the old school, big ref counter, the old school TFT, not the TFT, the digital display. So that's all that you get. And I mean, I can see it. The kind of equipment that the R now comes with, it's still very good, and at the same time, it saves a lot of money, and that is why you had that tempting price tag. So that essentially should answer your question.
All right. Hemant wants to know, when will India get the 2020 Ducati Panigale V4 and the Street Fighter V4?
Well, we are expecting them to open bookings around Diwali. That's what has been communicated to us, not officially though. And the delivery should begin by February or March 2021 is what we hear.
All right. But there's a question from someone named Top Speed. He wants to know, is there a petrol car or micro SUV under 8 lakh rupee? Average running is 50 kilometers per day. What would you suggest?
Well, of course, you've got the updated version of the Brezza, and now Toyota is coming out with the Urban Cruiser as well. Let's not forget that even that launch is just around the corner, and that should fit under your budget, within your budget. And it should be a perfectly good car. Keep in mind, Toyota will also add, I mean, what you're getting from Toyota also is that mark of reliability and service. That is a hallmark of Toyota for a long time. So I think that is going to be a big benefit. But those are some of your best options under 8 lakh rupees. Let's hope Toyota and price that over there. So let's wait and see. The Urban Cruiser is coming our way. Let's just see how that vehicle turns out to be.
PK, I assume, is asking about an EV two-wheeler. He says he's from Hyderabad. He doesn't see any charging stations there, though. What's a good two-wheeler?
Well, PK, I won't really agree with what you're saying because Hyderabad, in fact, has a lot of charging stations. One simple Google search should tell you there are plenty of charging stations in and around Hyderabad, and especially if you're talking about two-wheelers. Now, I don't know if you're talking about scooters or motorcycles here. Not many motorcycle options at the moment, but with scooters that have removable batteries. It shouldn't be a big worry for you in terms of the charging stations. But like I said, there are enough charging stations as well. So, which is a good two-wheeler to buy. I think if the Bajaj Chetak has opened bookings in your city, maybe take a look at it. The Ather is again a very good option, but I'm not sure if it's available in Hyderabad yet. So, pardon me on that. You'll have to probably look at this. What you could alternatively do is maybe look at the options that you have and give those options to us, and we'll probably help you choose what should be the right scooter for you in your city.
I
All
don't know if
right.
you can see this, Rohit, but yeah, there you go, right on that map. That's Hyderabad, and that's the number of charging stations we've got around in Hyderabad, in and around
Exactly.
Hyderabad. I think that's huge. That's pretty huge. I'm quite amazed to see they're all charge and drive charging stations.
Correct.
Sorry
All
guys,
right.
am I visible to you all?
Yes, we are. We can go full
Yes.
screen. Are you showing us
Okay.
something more?
No, I'm not showing anything more. I've just kind of lost speed and Rohit stuck, so I'm unable to see much. But I do believe we would have come towards the end of the show.
Yes, we can see a lot, but the light has changed inside the car. It tells us it's time to wrap up.
Yes.
But we have just a quick question. We have one. When is the Yamaha MT-03 going to launch in India? Oh,
Well, no news on that officially, for us to confirm anything. And we've seen how Yamaha operates in India. They are very calculated and they'll take their own sweet time. And I think they'll wait for the situation to improve before they launch, a premium product like this, because right now the market may not be right for something like the MT-03. But yeah, officially we do not have any confirmation. I'm hoping that, sometime early next year is when we'll get some news about the MT-03.
all right. And I was just scrolling up because right at the beginning I remember seeing a couple of motorcycle questions. I thought we'll come back to it. Ah, this question, which has come last week as well about the Husqvarna. Is it a great bike? Or
Right.
is a great
So
bike is something
so
he's
we
saying.
can't we can't really talk about whether it's good or not. We can't say much in terms of our impressions of what we think about the motorcycle because all our views and reviews are embargoed till the 16th of August. So Sunday our review should be out and it will be on overdrive.in. Unfortunately, we'll not have a video review for this because given the current weather, we have not been able to shoot the motorcycles, and given the tight schedules in which Husqvarna and Bajaj were operating right now, they couldn't get us the motorcycle again in time to shoot a review for you. So unfortunately, there's no video review coming out for this. But we have a very detailed text review coming up on overdrive.in. So definitely stay tuned to overdrive.in and we'll tell you whether this is a great bike or not. The only thing that I can tell you is we've had torrential rains last week when we got these motorcycles, but I had one of the best rain rides on one of these motorcycles. So, hopefully that should give you a hint of what I'm talking about. But like I said, for a detailed review, 16th August, do tune into overdrive.in.
Yeah. So, guys, just keep in mind there's been a lot of rain in and around Bombay. It's been raining for a week and is expected rain for another week and probably longer. Some torrential downpours. We've had a lot of flooding in the city. A lot of people affected, of course. A lot of roads closed. A lot of flooding on the streets. So it's been quite challenging. And I think hats off, the team has still managed to kind of get out and still get out a few stories. But yeah, we've also been held up because of the rain. So there are still some challenges. We will keep getting these stories to you as and when the weather allows us to do this, and as and when the vehicles are provided to us. But we will come back to you with all of these tests, all of these reviews one by one. Things are opening up, things are getting better. But we'd still advise you also to just stay safe. It's one of this is going to be one of the toughest times for all of us. So we need to be aware. We need to be secure. Let's try and still flatten that curve and make sure that none of us are affected. So do stay well out there, guys.
All right. I think with that, we've almost come to the end of this week's show, but not before we talk about Maserati. They've just unveiled the latest range-topping high-performance sedans from their stable, the Ghibli and the Quattroporte Trofeo. They're the fastest production cars from Maserati yet, racing at a top speed of 325 kilometers per hour. They're both powered by a Ferrari-derived 3.8-liter twin-turbo V8 engine. Rohit, Bert?
I'm
Well, I
just
want to
watching the
say
video.
something here, but I want to say something here. So last year, I remember we had gone to drive the Levante at Maserati's hometown, and we had talked about the Ferrari derived engines that they are now doing with their new Maseratis, and there was a very interesting story. So I was talking to one of the engineers there, and I asked them that you're using essentially a Ferrari engine developed by Ferrari and Maserati together, co-developed rather. The beauty of speaking to the Italians, especially when it's people from Maranello or Modena and people from Maserati and Ferrari, that guy just told me, yeah, it is derived from a Ferrari, but the firing order for Ferrari is so and so, so and so, and then he just spoke out the firing order for Maserati in that typical Italian accent, and it's like poetry in motion, literally, because you can imagine what he's talking about. You can the amount of passion that they put into it, even to just speak out the firing orders, the difference in firing orders. It's absolutely wonderful. So the essence here is that yes, it is a Ferrari derived V8, but it has a different firing order and to essentially go with the kind of sound that you expect from a Maserati, which is going to be distinctive compared to a Ferrari, and that is exactly that what they've gone here with the Ghibli and the Quattroporte, and the Trofeo editions are the exact kind of sedans that you expect to come out of Maserati, because we've seen a Ghibli diesel, we talked about a Ghibli hybrid, but these are the kind of Maseratis that you would want actually to own and drive and to enjoy.
Well, I haven't driven a Maserati in a very, very long time. So, Rohit, the next drive dibs. I'm
Sure,
pulling rank.
yeah.
All right. So I
I
guess
mean,
we'll catch up with everyone next week and we'll leave them with the visuals of the Maseratis.
see you guys. Bye bye. Stay safe.
Bye bye.